Now, you've probably seen a few reviews on the 718 GT4, and one of the most common complaints is that it doesn't sound quite as good as the old GT4, the 981 generation. So why is it that newer isn't better? Well, in this video, we're gonna compare the two cars' sound side by side. We're gonna talk about why they might sound different, and I'm gonna do a little exhaust mod to my 718 and see if we can get it sounding as good or better than the 981, so keep watching. Hey folks, Daniel here, welcome to the channel. That's right, in this episode we're gonna hear two Porsches side by side and hear the difference. I'm waiting for my buddy Ed, you know, Crazy Eddie from Ed Guards, those seat bolster protectors for your lightweight bucket seats that just about everybody has. Plus he has all those other Porsche interior accessories. Be sure to check out the website. He's supposed to meet me here, like right about now. Oh, I think I can hear him. All right, Ed, well, welcome. Today we're going to be listening to the sounds of these two cars together. Now, you've had your 981 for quite a few years. In general, how does it fit into the Porsche spectrum of sound? I mean, is it one of the good ones?
Oh, it's one of the top ones. I mean, I guess the 997 would play a good role in there as well, but yeah, to me, I was pleasantly surprised, to say the least.
Yeah, it definitely sounds good. Yeah. Now, you've heard me drive up to your house every now and then, maybe not get on it completely, but what do you think of the 718 sound?
It's just, it's a dumbed down sound. It's, I mean, they dumbed it down on purpose. It was done on purpose to meet standards. So, I mean, obviously, you're fighting that kind of requirement, and unfortunately, it didn't do a lot for the car, sadly.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I have to agree. When I go to autocross events and I see a 981 driving the autocross, I mean, it just sounds awesome.
It's ripping. It's ripping.
Right. And that's a great term. And then I see a 718, I go, oh, that's cool. That's what my car sounds like. But I go, you know what? It's not as good. It's not as good. So yeah, I have to agree with all the reviews. Your car definitely sounds better, and there's reasons for that. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but let's let everybody else decide what they think of these two next to each other, and then later we'll go for a drive and get some sounds there too. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
All right, so we got to hear these cars side by side. We got to drive them a bit. Ed, what do you think of the comparison?
It's just, unfortunately, it's a muted version of this car. And that's just the way it was because they didn't have a choice. They had to make changes to the exhaust system, and that's what you get.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely something different. Something about yours, just honestly, there's something more almost modern about this, and not in a good way. This sounds classic sports car. I guess it's the best way I can put it. Now, there's a number of good reasons for that. You know, Ed's exhaust pipes stick out the middle, right? Well, in the new one, they wanted to make this diffuser tunnel here for better aerodynamics in the rear. And to do that, obviously, they had to move the exhaust pipes to the side, and they had to make a whole different muffler with this weird U shape, and that's gonna contribute, right? And plus, your engine's different, right?
Yeah, it's a 3.8 versus a 4.0. The harmonics of the engine might be different.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I remember posting something really funny. When I first got my car, I wrote to some of the guys on the forum and said, you know, is it me or is it like maybe 30% of the attraction to this car is the fact that it sounds so great?
Yeah.
And then, no. And then what people wrote back, which blew my mind, was, fuck 30%. It was like 80%, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I knew that meant a lot, but it's crazy how that sound really became a hallmark for this car, and it's crazy, but it does mean a lot to people. I mean, you know, I mean, it's when you get on it, really. That's what's so cool about this too. It's not like, oh my God, it's so loud all the time. It isn't. It's when you get on it, it's really loud. So. Yeah.
Now, in 2016, they also didn't have quite the emission standards, and so they had to add gas particulate filters to this car, which are almost like secondary catalytic converters. And in North America, they're not monitored by the car's emission system or anything, so if we get rid of those, it's not really a big deal, but I think that's probably one of the primary things, right?
I have a tendency to agree, but I've never A-B'd one with and one without.
Well, we're going to do it.
Right.
So we're going to go back to my place. I'm going to install some aftermarket over-axle pipes that don't have that stupid gas particulate filter, and that should make these two exhausts much more similar besides the different muffler design. And then we can A-B it and see how they sound. All right, cool.
All right, bud.
I'll see you probably in a couple weeks.
All right, bud.
All right, see you.
Weren't you supposed to meet me at my house, you stupid fuck?
And I'm sitting here like he's late again. Jesus. I was going to film me being pissed off that I was late.
I think now he's going to definitely film me when I drive in and go, oh, Ed showed up. But that didn't happen.
All right, Ed, so we're back. It hasn't been a couple weeks. It's been a couple months because, well, you know, stuff happens. Yep,
right.
Exactly. So I got these over-axle pipes on, which I'll be releasing that video at the same time so you can see the installation if that's your jam. But today we just want to hear it, right? Ed, I took you for a drive in my car, and we recorded the clips that you're going to hear right now. And after they watch, let's talk about it. Now, don't be confused. Ed decided to bring his other GT4, the white one, and it is totally OEM exhaust, so it will sound the same. Now, let's compare some start, idles, and revs with the new over-axle pipes on my car. Poor Ed already washed his car, so I wasn't going to make him go through this dusty zone again. So we'll just use the previous clips comparing his black car against mine with the new over-axle pipes. that kind of acceleration, there's not much difference having the button pressed or not for the valves, but when you use a track nanny or valve controller to force the valves open, you can definitely hear a difference in grunt on the low end. And lastly, the first clip you saw in this video was my car with over-axle pipes using launch control. All right, so what do you think? Am I closer to this iconic 981 sound yet?
What? No, I can't hear you. No, it is definitely louder, significantly louder, and
but in a good way is the question.
Yeah, no,
right?
no, it's definitely good. It's not the same high pitched sound that you get from the stock exhaust on the 981. I don't know why. You know, this stuff is all black magic stuff. I really don't understand how it all works, but I did hear a tiny bit of drone.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, you know, mind-boggling, and we didn't really drive that long because unfortunately we're on
in regular mode, like even with my valves closed. The only time I noticed drone in that situation, otherwise it sounds pretty much stock on the inside, is going up a slight grade, 70 miles an hour to maybe 2,000 to 2,200 RPM. I pick up on a little bit, but otherwise no drone until you get up in the higher RPMs, but then it's just wonderful noise, or we turn the track nanny on and then the valves are open. Now, because Porsche closes those valves on purpose because of drone and probably other reasons, there's drone anytime you use a valve controller. And then you add these pipes, it's louder drone. That's true. But not enough for me to hate it, and I usually hate drone.
Right. The only way to avoid that, obviously, would be to shift down.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously go to a different
rev it
range.
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Which really you should do anyway, because if you're on an hill going up, I mean, you don't want to stress the engine. You should probably go into a lower gear. But
I have to say though, even as a 718 owner, I still like yours better. You know, and it came that way. It's like you don't even have to mess with it. You know?
It is. I mean, it's the you know it's the perfect combination. But you know, unfortunately, all the cars after this car, unfortunately, in the 718 Boxster series, just don't sound as good. It's kind of sad.
I know.
But,
I know.
Even that 4RS has got some serious issues with exterior, you know, exhaust sounds. But obviously the interior that's what they tried to make up for.
It's a whole other story. And, you know, and speaking of that, I mean, I would like to one day maybe have a big comparison of multiple GT4s, generations, and the RS, and just compare those sounds side by side. I think it'd be fun. Unfortunately, YouTube never quite sounds the same, but you know, that would be fun. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Maybe we'll bring that for the next one. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy overall, and I think this is where I want it to be. Those of you that upgrade headers and the muffler, man, it's just too much. And I know a lot of people that have just backed out of that situation. You too, right?
Yeah, my friend Jason, he opted for that, and he went with I think he went with sport headers as opposed to race headers. But I mean, that was in this car in the 981 series, so it was deafening. I mean, just absolutely deafening. And I don't know. I mean, I love sound and I love loudness, but that's just over the top. And he didn't keep those things for probably 30 days. Yeah. And he got rid of them. So.
Plus, as you said, no chance of, you know, driving at Laguna Seca on, you know, even the high decibel days, you'll probably blow sound.
Oh yeah, you know? I would think so as well.
And that's where we live, thankfully. But we do have those awesome sound restrictions.
Right.
All right.
Well, that goes with the, you know, the global warming and all that stuff.
All right, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. Be sure to check out the install video. And if you get a chance, like, subscribe, and consider hitting the bell to be notified of future Porsche content. Thanks so much for watching the Jeff Yolin channel. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Ed.